Hello, beautiful people. Oh my goodness, when you are getting your crew together, let's say it's the first day of school, or no, usually you get together a week before school. And even as I make all these videos and I present these random ideas for what you would do, because throughout the entire day when you are support staff for special education kids, you are constantly, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And you are 3 steps behind. And what worked Monday doesn't work Tuesday, that kind of thing. But there's a groundwork that you want to put in place before anything happens. You want to make sure that you have reviewed their BIP, their behavior intervention plan. You want to make sure that you've talked with your SPED teacher and you know exactly what is going to happen and how things are going to look in each classroom. When you sign on to be a paraprofessional, this is not an easy job. Do not apply to be a paraprofessional because you think it's going to be easy. And if you do show up and you are that person, you are going to get talked about because it's annoying. Don't be that para that just sits around and does the least amount of work and does the easiest work because you are making it difficult. So you are going to be, before school even starts, your foundation is going to be what is it going to look like when the student is going on a sensory break? How do you know? What do you know about this student? Is this a new incoming student? Is this a returning student? What goals are you looking at? You're going to be talking with your specials teachers. You're going to be letting the teacher know the goal is that this student responds to teacher. You are there as backup. Or it might be that in the beginning, it will be on you a little bit more. You're teaching social skills, you're teaching raising their hand, you're teaching the student to maybe just be sitting in the classroom, but you're going to have that conversation before school even starts of what the student's academic level is like, what it's going to look like when the student is in the classroom, the level of engagement. Maybe the student is still building trust and it's going to be the para that is working with the student primarily. How do you word that? In the basis of maybe the teacher's part is just going to be that when they call attendance, that the student raises their hand and that's it. But at that point, the student's only going to be in class for 2 minutes. But anyways, you're going to be laying the groundwork so that way when you walk into the classroom, the teacher automatically has a desk. I can't tell you how many times I have walked into students that are having a hard time generalizing, getting into gen ed. The amount of times I've walked into a classroom and the teacher does not have a desk set up, or the teacher doesn't have any idea what that student's academic level is. You do not have those conversations in front of your student. You need to be communicating with the teacher. Maybe you have a folder that's in the student's desk that lets that's their busy work. But these are all modifications that I've had to create because I have walked into classrooms and there has been no desk and I've had to stand there and wait and the student is trying to actively be part of their classroom, or the teacher is like, no, they're not going to do what the rest of the class does. And I'm going, no, it doesn't matter if they're on the same cognitive level. Give me the worksheet and the student will doodle. They want to be doing what the rest of the class is doing. But anyways, you're going to have all those conversations before school even starts. You're going to talk with the specials teachers, especially the music teachers. How many kiddos are having sensory struggles and their nervous systems can only handle so much? But you're going to talk with the specials teacher, the computers teacher, your PE teacher. You're going to figure out what the cafeteria is going to look like for them. Maybe they're the student that only goes into the cafeteria for the last minute before their class gets dismissed because that's all their nervous system and their sensories can handle. Maybe, I don't know, but you're going to be making sure that all of the paras are on the same page with how you implement anything throughout the day. You'll be, there has to be a level of consistency overall. I can't tell you how many times I've seen where the SPED teacher is doing one thing and then another para is doing another thing, and then you go into the next room and the para is like, yeah, I know they said that, but I'm going to do this. You just want to be in constant contact with your SPED teacher. You want to be in chatting with the gen ed teacher. making sure that no matter where that student goes, that student is supported, that just student is loved, that student is not going to feel embarrassed. So I don't know, I guess maybe that's it. That just hit really heavy. So I don't edit my videos. What you see is what you get. My head's starting to get weird. There it goes. Okay, thanks for listening, you guys. You're amazing. I'm gonna...